So, welcome everyone to another video. There's going to be a quick one. We're just going to be going through industry report for last year by GameIndustry.biz. It's a little bit late, but I said the month January is almost over and the industry has kicked off fully. But I think just to look back at last year and just look at some key points again. I already did this in a previous video, but I still want to look through it again and just highlight some things. I think where the industry needs improvement. So first off, I'm not gonna do too much trading, but you can read this on GameIndustry.biz, written by James Batchelor, editor in chief, and just updates. Where the data is gotten from. Newzoo, gives the data global, industry value. They also provide data in terms of mobile sales. Of course, US sales provided by Circana and likes if you follow them, and of course GFK, Nelson for UK, and Famitsu for Japan. All those are aggregated, to bring out the numbers that usually have. So where are the numbers? Start from here. So game industry the biz usually does this every year. I always love to read through it. I think it was very interesting to see their industry reports. And I have a special, would I say, special place in my heart for the site. At least James and Chris String really made me love listening to the video game business. Not only them, a lot of the old staff there, Marie De Alessandri, Brendan Sinclair, even staff writer Jeffrey Russo, and some of the other guys that have come in over the years. I'm listening to them for a while, and I really love them. Sad that James and Chris had to leave, but I'm hoping the new guys, will continue their work and do well. So let's see. But I'll still be following Chris and James wherever they go. Looking forward to what they start. But I've digressed enough. Just to continue. So the industry is worth 184.3 billion US dollars. That's a huge, figure there for last year. Obviously, we can see that 50% comes from mobile, which is of course huge, and the one only want to see single digit growth, 2.8%. So not bad, but inflation is still kind of high, especially across the globe. So um, maybe we need some changes there, more growth. Of course, consoles and PC are where majority of the concerns have been had. Overall, the zero point 0.2 growth compared to last year is not good. Looking at inflation, so consoles is a little bit concerning because of it. I don't know how they're gonna work on that, but I think they may need to make a lot of changes to it. But going further, just to look at digital versus physical games ratio, I think physical games gaining, losing is not surprising. Digital has been increasing every year. PlayStation just launched the PS5 Pro, which is the only digital box, but you can add the disc drive. But I think more and more guys are going to be going towards digital, and you can see where majority of the market is. Of course, mobile takes a large chunk, mostly digital. PC takes a large chunk, mostly digital, of course, and of course, console. A lot more box than compared to mobile. So, but not so much. You can see the split here. The PC 99% digital. Consoles 16% digital, and I think it probably may be higher. It would have been higher if not for the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch is playing in Europe. Is a highly physical console. Nintendo's, based on their last report, their physical digital split was around maybe 52, 3%, not so much, but high. Um, it's also dropping, but the fact that the Switch is in this dying period and not much activity there, so a lot of good games. Maybe Mario Party Jamboree did well, but overall the year was kind of a light year for them compared to last year where they had Tears of the Kingdom that sold a whole lot of copies. So that is something that will affect this number as well. But of course, everyone is moving towards digital future. Xbox had a digital only console last year come out as well. So I think the writing's on the wall. Eventually, physical will have to go. But I know some people like that shelf presence, especially for Nintendo that have a lot of customers that are kids. You want that shelf presence for kids, be able to see and point to things. So it depends, but we'll see how that goes. So breaking it down, um, you know, the top selling games from various major regions that data was captured. For United States, well, um, it's a lot of old games and a couple of new ones. So congrats to Dragon's Dogma 2 and Capcom for having a game in the top 10. Really fun game and they deserve it. Well made. Congratulations to Sony for Helldivers 2. Looking forward to their fiscal year release coming soon. Of course, Bandai Namco is on a good run. Sparkling Zero did a great job there. I'm happy for them. Microsoft, is the star of the show. They announced their fiscal earnings yesterday, and though overall gaming revenue declined by 7%, content and services revenue grew by 2%, which is kind of flat, but is well within their expectations. So they're not really expecting much growth, but I think compared to where they're coming from, they are growing. But the fact that hardware is the diminishing their growth is really kind of annoying. Of course, you expect hardware to decline, but usually, most people when hardware, as you sell more consoles, you've sold more consoles to the point where you're expecting to sell more software, and software will kind of help you diminish the losses that due to decline in hardware. Um, not losses, the growth expectations. Software help make that up when your hardware growth is not as strong as it used to be. When you're looking at something like Nintendo and Sony's historicals, usually that's what happens as the console mature, hardware starts declining, but software keeps rising. And then, when it gets to the point that software is declining, it's time to pack it up usually. To pack up the gen and move on to the next one because, once software starts declining and hardware is declining, really no point again in, continuing because, the longer you wait to ride out the console and everything, the harder it makes the transition to a more successful console, at least based on history. But yeah, I think for Xbox, they've been declining for a while, but at least content and has been growing for a majority of the time. So yeah, but it doesn't seem to offset the total decline, at least for this quarter's revenue. I think for the whole year they'll do better. They'll probably do better. So EA Sports, MVP bundle, EA Sports College Football, of course, those did really well last year. So UK, nothing too different. EA Sports FC, of course, football UK, nothing surprising there. The Hogwarts Legacy is the surprise. No, okay, not surprising there as well. Harry Potter UK franchise does well, but I still didn't think it would be this high because I know Harry Potter is a global brand. I expected it to be kind of lower, but I think the Switch version has proven to be really successful, and I was surprised how successful the Switch version of this game has been. But based on various analysts that maybe to see the raw data, the Switch version seems to be a very high performing version of the game, which is one of the reasons why you know they're able to still remain high above the charts. So big ups to them. Switch is a healthy console in many countries now, and everyone is waiting to transition to the Switch 2. So of course, many Switch games on the list compared to the US store, US charts, because the Switch is doing really well here. So it's one of those things. Just shows you the strength of Nintendo, and we're all looking forward to the Switch 2. Well, Japan, well, also another heavily dominated location by Nintendo. And just to highlight, UK hasn't always really been a strong market for PlayStation overall. Some people may find it surprising, but in the past, Xbox 360 did really well in the UK because Xbox had a lot, Microsoft had a lot of offices there, Rare is there, a lot, some of their studios is there. I think Playground Games is there as well. They had marketing, the Access and marketing office, Xbox office in the UK. So they really did well in the UK. So the UK was really an Xbox location. So the fact that Xbox hasn't really been performing well really just left this switch to take opportunity there, just to provide some extra context. So for Japan, we can see Switch again, Dragon Quest, HG2D 3, HG2D remake, and luckily, Final Fantasy Rebirth comes up here. Strong performance, and that's good. Sadly, it didn't come up in the US chart, which explains why Square Enix were not too happy with his performance, globally. But looking at mobile, nothing too obvious, nothing too surprising there. Tencent being number one publisher, they have a lot of hands in the games. Activision Blizzard to Microsoft also coming up strong here. I think Microsoft has a really large role to play going forward. Or it's really interesting. So one of the things I also found interesting about the data, if you can have time to look through it, is when you compare the top countries in terms of spending and top countries in terms of downloads. As someone that lives in Nigeria, I always say population. You may have a lot of population, but how much money do you bring to the table? Um, so it's always the thing. So US high population, high spending power. So top downloads number two, but number one in spending. Um, India is number one in downloads, but not anywhere in top 10 when it comes to spending. Brazil number three in downloads, not anywhere when it comes to spending. Indonesia, similar. This exactly the trend. Countries we have people with high disposable income, spend more. That's why free to play, other people like it or not, is the way to break into this market. Um, yeah, the returns may not be as much as these guys, but at least be able to break into this market and get revenue from many of these countries that you not even if it's just a few whales or few people that will spend is a way that you know that you can ensure you are getting revenue from these guys. I think that's the best. Also, I'm all for free to play in mobile. A lot of people still don't like the former because they feel it devalues games. Yeah, if you feel games are art, I do agree games are art. So yes, but it's a complicated thing. But I understand you want to ensure that you're making money too, so you can provide more entertainment as much as possible, and just what it is. So yeah. So top games by downloads, Roblox, obviously. I mean, sorry. Oh, sorry. Free Fire Winterlands. I haven't actually researched much about this game. I have to look more about it. But Roblox, yeah, top of the regular games that come up. You know, top publisher by downloads. We see of course, a flip. Doesn't mean they're the ones that make the most money. We know that in terms of consumer spending, these guys are. Number one, of course, Monopoly Go is number one. After the amount of ads they pumped out last year, I would be surprised if they were not number one. Like a heavy amount of ad spend last year. I've forgotten the um, exact figure, but I remember, going on various apps and seeing the huge ads, so many ads on social media, and from there I could just know that yeah, these guys are spending heavily on ads, and they pretty reap the reward of their spend. So not everyone has that level of cash to burn on ads, but sometimes you may just need to do that. So yeah, so I think they spent about almost 500 million. I'll just check that real quick. Yeah, I'm right. So they spent about 500 million, in marketing and user acquisition, which is a hefty amount. That's like double the cost of some AA games, AAA games. Like, yeah. So just a brief idea on games that were covered last year. Of course, Fortnite. Various updates. Of course, Xbox had their whole. I think yeah, because even I did a lot. I've done a lot of videos on Xbox. Mostly because we are all confused about what they do. So much KGs in their numbers, KG with their strategies. They say everything's working out, but it doesn't look like everything's working out. You say everything's working out, but you're making decisions that are confusing your fans, and I'm wondering if everything's working out. Why are you making this decision? But yeah, I expect things to change. I think Nintendo will probably be the most covered company this year because of the Switch 2. Then maybe Take Two. Yeah, maybe Take Two because GTA will probably be the most covered game. If GTA 6 comes out, GTA is the most covered game this year. But if not, maybe whatever Mario, whatever Nintendo does, a couple of games will show up here this year as well. But I'm sure regular Call of Duties, a lot of games coming up this year. So yeah, this list will be really dynamic. But yeah, like one of the things that really surprised me, the fact that Dragon Age Veilguard, um, 10 in terms of covered games this year, but sales performance wise seems to have disappointed. But of course, Dragon Age came out late in the year, Q3. But not really an excuse because Call of Duty came out in Q3 as well. So not the same thing. Call of Duty is a far bigger franchise. But even Black Myth Wukong came out later in the year, and still number 15, but sales wise, huge numbers. Yeah, but I expected more from it. It doesn't seem to have, made a huge splash. EA seems kind of disappointed. I've been seeing a lot of, very low discount sales on it, physical and digital as well. Really concerned for the guys at BioWare. They announced a restructuring recently. I hope, many of them keep their jobs. And top games on TikTok, similar stuff, nothing too different from above. You know, League of Legends seems to be having a, let's say, comeback. Not really a comeback. It does well either way, you know. So MetaQuest, insightful stuff in terms of games coverage, just to show what the audience on social media is looking at. You know, if you've noticed a lot of what I call it, Genshin Impact. The MiHoYo guys are really doing well. So Genshin Impact, see him here, Ken Zen Zero, also a game by them, Honkai Star, and also a game by them. Sometimes I feel that these three games kind of cannibalize each other, but what do I know? But they're doing really well with these three franchises, and they are going places. I wish them all the best. Yeah, so just to wrap up, I said let me just look through, specifically through the US charts and look at in terms of sales figures, you know, 2024 sales figures, specifically for the US market, and look more at the you know platform specific lists and of course the I think top 20 because game industry just does top 10. So I'll just go through the list and share, some of my thoughts on the games here. So just as we saw in the game industry industry reports, top 10 is, essentially the same, but, looking below is where things get interesting. Hogwarts Legacy. I think last year that, the Switch version of Hogwarts Legacy seems to have, done well and, push it up slightly. And I think later towards the end of the year, they had made an upgrade path for those that had the PlayStation 4 version, but maybe wanted to move to the PlayStation 5 version. They had that as well. I think I took advantage of that as well, but just like $10 extra. This game I don't GTA 5. This game I don't. Every year it's been on the top 20 for years now, and last year was the first year that a non COD game I think was the top selling game that was no, not last year, 2023, was the first time a non COD game was the top selling game. That was Hogwarts Legacy. So looking at platform specific sales for last year, Call of Duty, of course, number one on PlayStation. Seems to be where a report came out that 64% of the revenue Microsoft made in December last year came from PlayStation. Not really something I find good, but it's an interesting start, by the way. But EA Colors Football as well, Headivers 2, breakout hit for Sony last year. Have one of the fastest selling game ever on console and PC. When you have a game that captures players' interest, a lot of player agency, a lot of sharing, a lot of what's the situations that happen that are not scripted. It's just organic, and it just blows up. That's how diverse too, man. And of course, NBA and the likes, and the games that everybody play every year, the regular games, and of course, my favorite game last year, Astrobots, game of the year for me, fantastic game, and hoping I capture enough pictures and videos. I want to make a video on it very soon. I'm still trying to get a hang of this video recording and see which format and how I want to do it. But yeah, I'll be making a video on that soon. Really love the game, well made, but yeah. DD2 here as well, and of course the regular games that have been out for a while. For Xbox, very similar to PlayStation, nothing too different. Just a swapping of games here and there, but release is almost the same. Just like for PlayStation, you have some of their exclusives higher up. Xbox has exclusives here as well, but yeah, Forza, that's cool. Not really exclusive. Forza 5 Horizon is at least console exclusive for now. But yeah, it's sad, but it's the bed they chose to lie on, so that's why they are going third party. Nothing much you can say about that. Super Mario Jamboree. I don't know why this game was successful. I didn't think it would be successful, but for some weird reason people like it, and I don't get some of Nintendo franchises and the selling power. The brand is strong, but Mario movie has really boosted the brand of the IP, so anything goes now with these guys. Anything goes. Hogwarts Legacy, as I said, done very well on the Switch. Seems to be a defining factor for its high placement in the year. If it's number 5 here and I think 13 here in Xbox, and where is it on PlayStation? PlayStation, right? Yeah. Oh, it's not even in top 20 in PlayStation. Oh, wow. So you know where it came from. Switch and my PC, most likely. So hardware declined as expected. Nintendo Switch declined. Everyone declined. Xbox continuously to crater. I don't know what their solution would be, but hopefully the TVs and the cloud strategy pans out successfully. That's what I've been saying for years now. Execution seems to be difficult for them when it comes to things. A friend of mine said, maybe they should pivot and pivot, and go for a more casual audience, general audience, than focus on the core gamers on the likes. I said, I would agree with that, but Microsoft's, the Xbox team seem to have have a challenge when it comes to quickly pivoting, and they've lost a lot of time already over the years, and they don't want to lose time learning what they want to pivot to, learning how to pivot, learning from their mistakes. They've lost a lot of time, and I don't know if that looking at a different audience is something that they really want to do again. They did it with Kinect, but it didn't help them in the long run. So let's see. But software is declined as well, but I think this year we'll see an uplift. So I'm looking forward to charts this year. Looking forward to seeing success of Nintendo Switch and GTA 6 if it comes out. It's gonna be an interesting year. Lots to play, lots to talk about, lots of news. Thank you. So please, if you have any comments or feedback, complaints, or whatever said, if I have made any assumption, drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.